10 years in, and my biggest crime was being consistent. I wasn't drunk, I wasn't cheating, I just wasn't thrilling enough to compete with the fiction in her head. But let's start from the beginning. I heard the key rattle twice before she finally got it in. Typical Jenna. She could charm a bouncer, a bartender, and a boardroom, but a front door lock after 3 glasses of Prosecco? Unbeatable enemy. She stumbled in like the star of a rom-com, minus the charm. Her perfume hit me first. Citrus, sugar, and the faint guilt of someone who hoped you wouldn't ask how the night went. I was at the kitchen counter working on absolutely nothing that mattered. An open laptop, blank spreadsheet, and a coffee cup I hadn't refilled in hours. Just enough props to look busy. Jenna walked in, heels in hand, phone still lit in the other. Her lips were a little too red, her laugh a little too loose. Girls' night, she declared like it was a court ruling. No defense allowed. She went straight for the bottle of red I'd left out, poured herself a glass like she'd earned it by surviving the chaos of dancing on rooftops and pretending she still cared about Maya's engagement. She leaned against the counter with the posture of someone who used to live here, but was just visiting now. "You ever think," she said, swirling the wine, "that maybe love should feel more like electricity and less like a pension plan?" Ah, here it comes. I didn't look up. I didn't need to. She wanted a stage, not a conversation. "Maya says I'm glowing lately," she added, like that was an objective medical opinion. "Glowing or radioactive?" I asked, finally glancing at her. She missed the sarcasm. Maybe. She giggled. "We were talking about love tonight, like real love, the kind that burns, not this schedule." I closed the laptop. Silence fell hard enough to be loud. The fridge hummed in sympathy. She sipped again. "You give stability, Caleb." She said it slowly, as if pronouncing something foreign and disappointing. "But I want passion." There it was, framed and gift-wrapped. I looked at her. She wasn't apologizing, she was performing. "Stability," I said. "You make it sound like a disease." She rolled her eyes. "Don't make this a thing." I tilted my head. "Oh, I won't. You already did." She took another sip. "Probably rehearsed this with Maya in the Uber. I don't feel alive anymore. I want to feel that fire again, the way it used to be." "You want fireworks? I get it," I said. "Candles aren't loud enough." That earned me a frown. "You don't understand." "No, I do," I said calmly. "I understand more than you think. I've just stopped trying to decorate it with optimism." She stared at me. Waited for an explosion, for begging, for something. I gave her none of it. She said, "Don't take it personally." I nodded. "Sure, I'll file it under random acts of emotional arson." "Not personal at all." She said it like a mantra, like she expected applause for finally being honest with the man who'd been boring enough to pay the mortgage on time. And when I didn't explode, when I didn't beg, bargain, or break, she looked confused, like she'd stepped off a curb she didn't know was there. She went upstairs without another word, soft thud of bare feet on hardwood, the kind of silence that used to mean peace. Now it just meant clarity. I stayed in the kitchen, put the cork back in the bottle, wiped the ring of wine off the counter like it was blood spatter from a truth she thought wouldn't stain. I wasn't angry. Not yet. What I felt was quieter, heavier, not heartbreak, alignment. Like the gears had shifted into place after months of grinding noise. She wanted fire. What she didn't realize was I'd just turned off the gas. She slept in. I didn't. In the morning, I made coffee for one and scrambled 2 eggs in a pan I hadn't used in months, because apparently, predictability doesn't cook breakfast for 2 anymore. She came downstairs eventually, wrapped in that oversized sweatshirt that screamed, "I'm the victim here," in cotton blend. Puffy eyes, slow steps, damage control mode. "Morning," she mumbled like the word might explode if she said it too loud. "Morning," I replied, same tone I use for delivery guys. The coffee machine hissed like it was tired of this too. She hovered near the fridge, looked inside like it might fix things. "We're out of oat milk," she noted, not looking at me. "I noticed," I said, sipping black coffee with the confidence of a man no longer buying lactose alternatives for someone who's emotionally lactose intolerant. "I'll grab some later," she said, to the shelf. Then, after a beat, "Did I say anything weird last night?" I put my plate in the sink. "You said I give stability, but you want passion," I said plainly. "Among other things." She winced, not because she regretted it, because I remembered. "I was drunk," she offered, as if alcohol had kidnapped her mouth and forced her to speak inconvenient truths. "I know," I said. "That's why it sounded honest." She didn't laugh. "Can we not make this a thing?" "Oh, I'm not making anything," I said. "I'm just adjusting my expectations, like you did." She stared, waiting for a fight she could win. I gave her a nod and walked out of the kitchen. At work, everything tasted cleaner, like I'd cleared some virus in the background and my operating system was finally running at full speed. I closed 3 tickets before noon, cleaned out my inbox like I was evicting squatters. I skipped the calendar reminder titled "Anniversary Dinner Res" and deleted the florist note I'd set 3 weeks ago. The silence that followed felt like relief, not grief. Back home, the air felt different. Not because she was gone, but because I was. Jenna was on the couch, scrolling, not even pretending to read. I walked past her like a ghost who no longer haunts the same house. "Are you okay?" she asked, not lifting her eyes. "I'm great," I said. "Just making room for passion. Figured I'd start by removing stability from your environment." She blinked. That landed. "You're being different." "I heard you," I said. "I'm adapting." "So this is your version of punishing me?" "No," I said calmly. "This is my version of believing you." By Tuesday, the house got quieter. Not empty, just less padded. I wasn't slamming doors or making speeches. I just stopped filling the silence she used to pretend not to hear. No morning check-ins, no "I'll grab it on the way home," no calendar invites for dinners she wouldn't show up to anyway. Just space, and the sound of Jenna walking through it like someone trying to locate furniture in a room that's been rearranged without her permission. She came home that night with takeout from the Thai place, set it on the counter like a peace offering, or a trap. Hard to tell with her sometimes. "We could split this," she offered, upbeat. "Or not," she added, real fast, like generosity was a hot potato she didn't want to be caught holding too long. I made a sandwich, turkey, mustard, no performance. "Really?" she said, watching me spread it like I'd just kicked a kitten. "You brought food you know I don't eat," I replied. "But thanks for thinking of me." Her lips parted like she wanted to call me dramatic. Then she realized she'd have to admit to starting the drama. She didn't eat the takeout either. Wednesday morning, she hovered near the front door as I grabbed my keys. "Do you have time to talk tonight?" she asked, eyes trying to find the old version of me in my face. "About what?" She hesitated. "About what I said? I think I said it wrong." "I understood it perfectly," I said. "I mean, I shouldn't have dumped that on you after a night out." "You're right. You shouldn't have." She blinked. That one hit hard. I was just being honest, and I'm just responding to honesty with action. She searched my face, looking for softness or outrage, anything she could work with. What she found was stone. She nodded slowly, like someone realizing the door they walk through doesn't open from the other side. At work, people noticed. "You look different, man," someone said during a meeting. "Clear." "I am," I said, and that was it. No sad stories, no self-pity, just a man who stopped carrying someone else's weight without being asked. At lunch, I closed the browser tab with the weekend getaway I'd planned for her birthday. Canceled the reservation, no rage, just clarity. That night I folded laundry. Her clothes went on the bed, not in her drawer. She walked in, looked at the pile, looked at me. "Did I do something?" You told me the truth, I said. I'm organizing accordingly. Her jaw tightened. You're impossible. No, I said. I'm predictable. That used to be your favorite thing about me. The phone buzzed at 2:12 a.m. She'd left it charging in the kitchen. Screen up, like a breadcrumb trail for a story she wasn't brave enough to tell out loud. Maybe that was her game. Leave just enough to be seen, but never enough to be caught. I got up for water. That's all I meant to do. But then, Chris. Work. Still thinking about that elevator ride. Elegant. I tapped the screen. No password. Of course not. Why protect what you secretly want discovered? There were just a few messages, not too explicit, not too innocent either. Just enough plausible deniability to wrap herself in if I ever asked, which clearly she didn't expect I would. He barely talks to me anymore. I think he knows. So? You said he doesn't react? Exactly. That's what makes it worse. Then you're already free, babe. Come over this weekend. No emojis. Just heat in grayscale. I locked the phone. No screenshots. Didn't need evidence. She'd already confessed in spirit, just outsourced the delivery. The next morning, I was already at the counter when she came downstairs. Same sweatshirt, same fake ease. She moved like she was trying to perform normal, but forgot the script halfway. Morning, she said, reaching for the fridge. I handed her the oat milk she claimed she was going to pick up yesterday. Her eyes flicked to it, surprised. Oh, thanks. Sure, I said, sipping my coffee like I hadn't read her exit plan 6 hours ago. She sat down at the counter, watching me, studying my face like it might tell her how much damage was done. And then she dared. Are we okay? I let the question hang in the air just long enough to make her sweat. Then, I read one line, I said casually. Her body stiffened, like a string pulled too tight. What? What line? I turned to her slowly. Calm. Dead calm. He barely talks to me anymore. I think he knows. Silence, a flicker of panic. Then came the performance. I didn't mean that the way it sounds. Oh, I know, I nodded. I'm sure it was meant in a metaphorical, wine-glazed, soul-searching sort of way. No, Caleb, I needed to vent. Of course, vents usually lead to bedrooms now, right? That's not fair. It's accurate. You just don't like it said out loud. She looked away, lips tightening. I just wanted to feel something. You've been so distant lately. I raised an eyebrow. So your solution to emotional distance was physical closeness with someone else? She crossed her arms, defensive now. It wasn't like that. Let me guess, I cut in. You were confused, vulnerable, misunderstood, and it just happened. You're twisting things. I'm just not accepting the script you wrote for me. She stood up, voice rising. You're being so damn dramatic. I placed my mug in the sink slowly. No, Jenna. I'm being quiet. That's worse. Drama lets people pretend something's still alive. Silence means the funeral already happened. She opened her mouth, closed it. No more lines left to improvise. She didn't apologize. Not really. There was a sorry you feel that way, hidden in a sentence about miscommunication 2 days later, but no mention of the elevator or the text or the charming Mr. Chris from work. Instead, she pivoted to offense. Classic. First came the subtle jabs. You know, maybe if we actually talked once in a while, I wouldn't have to text someone else. I gave her a slow blink. You mean like how we're talking now? So you can tell me it's my fault? She rolled her eyes and walked off, like that was the win. Then came the passive social media theater. Her Instagram suddenly came alive. Filtered lattes, fake laughs with people she barely tolerated. A quote about finding yourself beyond other people's shadows. Cute. One of her stories showed a slice of chocolate cake with the caption, "Finally doing things that make me feel alive." I was in the next room when she posted it. I didn't react. She noticed. Did you see my post? I glanced up. The cake? She smirked. Among other things. Happy to know you've rediscovered your inner bakery. She frowned. The thing is, she expected a fight. She wanted it. A slammed door, a broken plate, something she could point to and say, "See? He's the villain." But I stayed calm. It's hard to play the victim when the other person won't become your villain. A few nights later, she came downstairs in one of the old dresses she hadn't worn in years, the tight one, deep red, low-cut, intentionally nostalgic. "Heading somewhere?" I asked. She smiled like a woman who still believed she had cards to play. "Just drinks with the girls." "Ah," I nodded. "Tell Chris I said hi." She froze, just a second, a micro-expression of pure static. "I told you, nothing happened." "Oh, I believe you," I said smoothly. "You're very good at nothing happening." She clenched her jaw. "You know, for someone who doesn't care, you sure talk like you do." I took a sip of my drink and smiled. "Oh, Jenna, I care, just not the way you want me to anymore." She left 10 minutes later. Didn't even slam the door. That was the real sign. She wasn't trying to win an argument. She was trying to outrun silence. It was the third Sunday after the elevator text. She came into the living room with a notebook, an actual spiral-bound notebook. Like this was a college project she'd finally decided to submit. "I've been thinking," she said, standing with that performative seriousness she always pulled when she needed to feel righteous. "Dangerous habit," I muttered, not looking up from my laptop. She ignored that. "I made a list of things we can do to improve communication. And maybe intimacy." Ah, the intimacy card. We hadn't played that one in a while. Probably because it hadn't been in the deck for months. "Lists," I said, still not looking. "You always did love organizing chaos you caused." She didn't flinch. Impressive. "There's a couples workshop next month. Also, Dr. Lambert said he has room for joint sessions if we want." "You already called the therapist?" "I just asked," she said quickly. "And I thought maybe we could do a tech-free Sunday every week and make time for one compliment a day. You know, reconnect." I closed the laptop. "Reconnect?" I repeated. "After all this, your pitch is positive affirmations and yoga breathing?" She crossed her arms. "I'm trying, Caleb." "No, you're repackaging guilt into bullet points and hoping I'll staple them to my dignity. You're being unfair." "I'm being accurate," I replied. "You made a choice. Then I made one. And now, instead of honesty, you're offering structure. Like that'll make me forget the content." She paused, then tried the soft tone. "Do you even want to try?" I looked her dead in the eye. "No." One word, no cruelty, just clarity. She blinked, visibly shaken, not by the answer, but by how calmly it was delivered. "You'd rather throw this away?" "You already did. I'm just refusing to dumpster dive." A week passed. She stopped with the lists, stopped with the suggestions, the "what if we just tried" the moments. That's when the real manipulation began. It started with her friends. Tasha texted me out of the blue. "Jenna's not herself lately. You guys okay?" I ignored it. Then her mom called. "We've always loved you like a son, Caleb, and I just hope you don't give up too quickly." Cute. They were clearly on some kind of pity rotation. Meanwhile, Jenna posted a boomerang of her staring sadly out a cafe window, with the caption, "When you love someone, but the silence becomes louder than the words." Right. Silence. Or maybe I was just done yelling into an emotional black hole. I booked a consultation with a divorce attorney on Thursday. Didn't tell her, didn't even change the browser history. Let her find it if she wanted to. Let her wonder what I was planning. Because the truth is, I was tired of playing chess with someone who only knew how to flip the board when she started losing. The morning before the appointment, she tried a new tactic. She walked into the kitchen wearing nothing but a smile and one of my shirts. "Morning," she said, voice sugared. "Is it?" She leaned against the counter, pushing cleavage like a weaponized memory. "I was thinking we could do something this weekend, just us." I looked up, slowly. calmly. You want a weekend getaway? With the man you called passionless, who just pays the bills and takes up space? She blinked, faltered. I didn't mean it like that. No, you meant it exactly like that, I said. You just didn't think I'd quote you back while still remembering your favorite wine and allergies? She tried to laugh it off. You're being cold. I sipped my coffee. That's the forecast now. I never imagined my search history would include divorce lawyer near me and how to serve papers without drama in the same week. But here we were. Wednesday afternoon, I sat across from a clean-cut man named Eric who looked like he hadn't smiled since 2012. Exactly the kind of man I wanted on my side. He asked the standard questions. I gave calm, brutal answers. Assets? Split. Children? None, thank God. Adultery? Implied, I said, but cleverly vague. She's smart that way. He nodded like he'd heard it 1,000 times. Are you emotionally ready for the fallout? I actually smiled. I've been rehearsing it for months. That night, Jenna was waiting for me in the living room. Full makeup, wine poured, a playlist softly humming some sad indie artist. Not a word about where I'd been. Just, can we talk? I set my keys down slowly. By all means. She took a breath, clearly trying to look composed. I know I made mistakes, but I didn't cheat, Caleb. I raised an eyebrow. You sure about that? Because your definition of cheating must have taken a sabbatical. She blinked. I didn't sleep with anyone. Is that the standard now? As long as you don't fall into bed, all sins are void? She frowned. I just needed something you weren't giving me. I tilted my head. You mean attention, affection, or just someone to flirt with you like you're 22 again? She slammed her wine down. You're being cruel. No, I said, I'm being precise. There's a difference. Silence stretched like a noose. Then she tried a different move. The wounded tone. I still love you, you know. I studied her. But do you respect me? She didn't answer. That was enough. The next morning, I opened the drawer where we kept passports and pulled out the manila envelope I'd slipped there the night before. Inside, a copy of the paperwork, unsigned but ready. She saw the envelope at 7:46 p.m. I know because I watched her walk into the bedroom, toss her bag on the chair, and pause mid-step when she spotted it. Right there, on her vanity. Like a landmine dressed in legal paper. She picked it up like it might burn, read the first few lines, and then came the voice. Not her usual sultry manipulation tone. Number. The sharp, shrill panic of someone losing grip. You're filing for divorce? I didn't even look up from the living room couch. I already did. That's a copy. You weren't even going to tell me? I just did. This is insane, Caleb. You can't just decide something like this. I finally looked at her. Calm. Focused. Oh, so now things are decided without discussion? That's rich coming from someone who had a secret nickname for her affair partner. You don't get to just kick me out of this house. I'm not kicking you out, I said, standing slowly. But I'm not leaving either. I paid this mortgage for a decade. You want out? Pack your skincare and your guilt and go. Door's right there. She scoffed. I'm not going anywhere without a court order. Perfect, I said. Then I'll see you in court. In the meantime, enjoy the guest room. She blinked. You can't do this. You can't treat me like some tenant. Tenant would have paid rent in honesty, I snapped back. You lived here rent-free in both money and morals. That night, she sulked in the guest room, door open just wide enough to signal, look how sad I am. She wanted me to peek, to ask, to chase. I didn't. I made eggs, ate them, slept like a stone. The war wasn't cold. It was contained. Next day, the Instagram post dropped, black and white. Her face turned away, hand to forehead. Caption, some people only show love when you're already leaving. I laughed into my coffee. Oh, she was spinning it already. The audience mustn't know the villain behind the eyeliner. By lunch, her sister texted me, "Why are you acting like this came out of nowhere? You blindsided her." I replied, "She should check her elevator history with Chris. That'll refresh her memory." By evening, Jenna tried a new tactic. Conversation. "I just want to talk," she said, hovering by the kitchen doorway in yoga pants and a carefully selected, innocent wife sweatshirt. "You've had months to talk," I said, not looking up from my laptop. "But this isn't us." I slammed the lid shut. This is exactly us. The real us. No filters, no illusions, just the rotting mess you painted over with fake couple selfies. I was lost, Caleb. You were entertained. Big difference. We lasted 5 more days like that. Not in marriage, just in proximity. 2 ghosts passing in a hallway of accusations never spoken aloud. I made no effort to hide the divorce papers anymore. I even left a highlighter on top. She pretended not to see them, the way kids pretend the monster isn't in the closet if they don't say its name. Until Thursday night. She came into the kitchen in heels, full makeup, dressed for war or dinner. I couldn't tell. "I need to talk," she said. Then talk. She didn't sit. Too proud, too poised. "I saw your little threat on my vanity." I took a sip of my coffee. Not a threat, a proposal. Legal, even. "You think this is just going to go the way you want?" "I think it already is. You're acting like I cheated on you with half the city." I tilted my head. "Should I check area codes or just stick to elevator footage?" Her face flushed. "I'm not moving out." I nodded. "Didn't ask you to. I said I'm not leaving. I paid for this place. I built this life. You want out? Pack a bag. Otherwise, enjoy the awkward breakfasts." That's not how divorce works. Then file an injunction or stay. But either way, Jenna, the emotional rent's due. Next morning, she texted me from the same kitchen. "If we go to court, I'll say you were emotionally abusive." I replied, "I'll say you were emotionally performative, and I have the receipts." She never answered. But 2 days later, her lawyer did. And suddenly, we weren't just broken. We were officially done pretending to fix it. Our kitchen wars continued for about 3 more weeks, but finally the day came. Courtroom, 10:03 a.m. She looked immaculate, of course. Tactical tears ready. Outfit soft and pale, a costume for sympathy. I sat 3 chairs away, flipping through the documents like I was reading brunch menus. Her lawyer opened with flair. Mrs. Langford was emotionally abandoned, left to feel invisible in her own home. Mine stood, calm. "Mr. Langford would like to submit Exhibit C, a transcript of Mrs. Langford's text exchange with Mr. Christopher Dean, sent during that supposed abandonment." Jenna's face twitched, just slightly, but enough. The judge read, in silence, then slowly set the file down. "Mrs. Langford," she said, "can you clarify the timeline in which you felt emotionally deprived while simultaneously making weekend plans with another man?" The courtroom was silent enough to hear the spin in Jenna's brain come to a grinding halt. She opened her mouth, closed it. Her lawyer cleared his throat. "My client was emotionally confused." The judge didn't even flinch. Noted. But confusion doesn't entitle someone to double occupancy of both reality and fiction. When it was my turn to speak, I kept it short. "I don't need compensation. I don't want revenge. I want peace. And I want legal acknowledgement that being quiet isn't the same as being blind." Judge nodded, stamped the file. "The divorce is granted." That was it. Not a movie ending. No dramatic exit. No standing ovation. Just the soft, satisfying sound of a door unlocking. Outside the courthouse, she tried once more. "We could have fixed it," Jenna whispered. "If you just tried harder." I looked at her. "Jenna, I was accused of being boring, reliable, emotionally flat." She nodded, smugly, thinking I'd validate her. I smiled coldly. "And now, I'm none of those things anymore." I turned, left her in that parking lot. In her pale coat and darker truths, the court ruled in my favor. Apparently paying the mortgage, maintaining the property, and not screwing around behind your spouse's back still counts for something. The house was mine, legally, officially, even poetically. She packed her things in a silence so loud it echoed, tried to look dignified while stuffing lingerie and yoga mats into boxes marked fragile. No one last plea, just the sound of heels clicking down the steps, and a door that finally closed without hesitation. 3 months later, her Instagram changed from married, finding myself, to healing, soft life, coffee lover. Chris was nowhere in sight. Rumor was he moved to Texas. Or maybe she just burned that bridge too fast. As for me, I didn't throw a party, didn't get a tattoo, didn't post cryptic quotes about strength and growth. I just opened the windows, let the house breathe again, and made coffee without a side of resentment. Some houses forget. Ours didn't. It creaked less, smelled better. Like even the walls were relieved. Peace is quieter than I expected. But damn, it suits me.